On July 11th, 1945, a sedan left Los Alamos carrying 1/2 of the world's supply of plutonium in 2 hemispheres the size of half grapefruits. For months, scientists and technicians had been making this trip from Los Alamos, 200 miles south to the Alamogordo bombing range to prepare for the Trinity-Test. On a desert valley named by Spanish explorers the Jornada del Muerto, Dead Man's Route, the sedan and its security convoy passed through guarded barriers and entered base camp. Preliminary assembly of the first nuclear bomb was carried out in the McDonald Ranch House, in a room sealed and lined with plastic to protect the finely machined weapon parts from the constantly blowing dust. This ranch, among others, was taken over by the Army to create a bombing range as part of the U.S. wartime effort. In one portion of the range, the Army had constructed a base camp, control points, and bunkers for instrumentation to evaluate the first atomic weapon. Thousands of miles of electrical lines were strung to connect experiments which would measure optical, mechanical, and nuclear effects. Time was terribly short. President Truman was at Potsdam, awaiting the results of the test so that the Allies could plan their attack on Japan, and hoping that a successful test would give him some leverage over the increasingly grasping Stalin. Scientists were working with components and instruments delivered just barely in time. It was ready or not. They had to commit themselves and their experiments to the test. July 13th, they began the final assembly. The bomb was hooked up to a crane which would lift it to the tower. July 14th, finally the ride to the top. Cables, detonators, informer, initiator hookup. July 15th, final dry runs. Tension. Everything ready. July 16th, a rainstorm with spectacular lightning delayed the test from 2 a.m. to 5:29 a.m., just before dawn. Dignitaries from the scientific world watched from the hills. Participants and watchers were instructed to lie on the ground, facing away from the tower. Only after the initial flash could they look at the developing fireball through welder's goggles. A flare in the sky signaled the final countdown.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
The flash was later calculated to be brighter than 1,000 suns. Miles away, a young girl, blind from birth, saw the flash. Men at the site felt the heat of a desert sun. Then came the shockwave. 2 GIs at the command center stood up in their excitement at seeing the boiling cloud and were knocked to the ground. The roar followed, a cascading thunderclap that rolled and boomed out across the desert. Patient watchers on the mountainsides around Los Alamos saw the flash and heard the distant boom. The coded message sent to Potsdam read, "Operated on this morning. Diagnosis not yet complete, but results seem satisfactory and already exceed expectations." Secretary of War Stimson was also at Potsdam. His diary recounts the effect of the Trinity report on the conference. "Now I know what happened to Truman yesterday. When he got to the meeting after having read this report, he was a changed man. He told the Russians just where they got on and off."